Incredible single dad brings child to interview. What the CEO revealed changed their lives forever. Mike took a deep breath as he stared at the glossy building before him. This was at the moment that could turn everything around. He glanced at his daughter, Lily, bouncing in the passenger seat, her wide eyes glowing with excitement. She was his world. But at that very moment, reality hit hard. They didn't have enough money for rent this month, and his layoff had left them teetering on the edge. The pressure weighed on him like a heavy blanket. Just as they climbed out of the car, disaster struck. Lily, all energy and eagerness, jostled her juice box hard, and it popped open, sending bright orange liquid splashing all over her dress. Tears welled in her eyes, and Mike's heart clenched. This was not how he wanted to start what could be a life-changing day. "It's okay, sweetheart. We can figure this out," he said, forcing a smile despite the panic welling up inside. In a moment of desperation and a flicker of hope, he grabbed her tiny hand and led her inside the sleek corporate office. A single dad bringing his daughter into a place filled with clean-cut professionals wasn't exactly the norm, but Mike wanted this job more than anything. He needed her there, not just for comfort, but because she reminded him of why he fought so hard. As they stepped into the bright, polished meeting room, the atmosphere felt stiff. Mike couldn't shake the feeling of being out of place. But then Sarah, the CEO, walked in. She exuded authority yet appeared approachable. Her eyes landed on Lily, and the tension slightly lifted. It was as if the child brought color into the dull attire of the corporate world. "Hi. I'm Lily," she exclaimed, her innocence radiating through the room. Sarah smiled back, yet Mike could see the flickers of confusion on her face. "What do you want to be when you grow up, Lily?" Sarah asked, trying to pivot the mood. Lily's face scrunched in thought, and then she spoke with the conviction of someone much older. "I want to help people, just like my dad does. He tells me stories about how he always finds a way to help others." The room started to warm up. An unexpected bond was forming, not just between Lily and Sarah, but also between Mike and the impressive CEO. But the moment winded back into formalities, and Mike shared his story about losing his job and what that meant for his family. "I'm a veteran. I've faced a lot, and now I just want to provide for Lily," he said, his voice resolute. But just as Mike felt he was making a connection, Sarah misunderstood his passion as unprofessionalism. He saw it in her eyes, a flicker of judgment and condescension that cut deeper than any rejection he had faced before. Mike felt his heart lurch as he struggled with frustration. "I'm trying my best, you know," he muttered, frustration rising. The air grew heavy with tension, and Mike felt like he had stepped into a world that didn't quite understand his fight. But just then, in a move that stole both adults' breath, Lily turned to her dad and then to Sarah, speaking boldly, "My dad's the best. He never gives up. He helps me with my homework and tells me stories about kindness. He's trying so hard, just like you." The words hung in the air, surprising even Mike. He was fighting for them both, and here was Lily, fiercely defending him in a room filled with suits and ambition. In that moment, he realized that love, determination, and a child's voice could pierce through the corporate veil. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the weight of the moment settled, Mike could see the gears turning in Sarah's mind. Would she dismiss them both, or allow the deeper connection they had forged to matter? The question hung in the air, thick and heavy, leaving Mike's heart racing with uncertain hope. Would integrity and familial love break through the barriers of a world that often overlooked those who fought against the odds? Just as the silence felt unbearable, Sarah's expression softened. She looked between Mike and Lily, her brow furrowing in thought. "You know what, Lily?" she said, redirecting her gaze entirely to the little girl. I think you're onto something important. We need more kindness in the world. Isn't that right, Mike? Relief flooded through Mike, almost knocking the breath out of him. Maybe, just maybe, they had shifted something within her. Exactly, he said, the weight of his worry lightening slightly. It's not just about skills or achievements. It's about heart. It's about being there for someone, especially when they need it most. Sarah tilted her head, intrigued. And how does that translate into your work life? The old saying goes, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I've always believed we're at our best when we support one another. That's what I want to bring into the workplace. A team that thrives on empathy. Mike's words flowed, fueled by passion and the desperate need to succeed. Lily clapped her hands, her eyes sparkling. Dad! You should say that at every job interview. That's a great idea. The CEO chuckled softly, the tension easing further. You know, I think I might want to hear more about your experience. Maybe you could share a story or two that illustrates this approach. Mike blinked, stunned. A story? His recounting of a past triumph, a moment where he helped someone in need, could serve as a bridge to the job he so desperately needed. He cast a glance towards Lily, who offered him an encouraging nod. All right, I'll give it a go. Swallowing hard, he shared a tale from his past. A time when he had volunteered at a homeless shelter during his service. He painted a picture of community bonds, the laughter they shared, and the impact they had on lives. As he spoke, each word seemed to pull the room in tighter, wrapping it in a sense of camaraderie. When he finished, silence lingered, punctuated only by the tapping of fingers on a notepad. Sarah leaned back in her chair, contemplating. That's what the world needs: leaders who care, who understand not just profit but human potential. Mike's heart nearly exploded with hope. Could this mean they were actually in alignment? I can't believe you're both here today, Sarah continued. You reminded me of a vital truth. Perhaps I've let the structure of our company overshadow what truly matters. Lily, brimming with innocence, looked directly at Sarah. Can you help my dad find a job, like you helped me when I'm lost in math? A warm smile crept across Sarah's face, the kind of smile that felt like a gentle pat on Mike's back. Let us explore that possibility, she said, her tone supportive yet professional. But first, I'd like to see how you two work together on a small project. Just to get a feel for your synergy. What do you think? The words hung in the air, offering a glimmer of opportunity. Mike's mind raced, caught between excitement and apprehension. What did a project even look like in a corporate world that felt so foreign? Would it just be the three of us? He asked, still trying to grasp this shift in direction. Sarah nodded. A small team. A chance to show me how you collaborate, how you leverage the heart for business. Perhaps we could even video it. That way, we can capture your unique approach. As disbelief settled into Mike's mind, a warm surge of purpose ignited as well. They had a chance to reveal their story together, father and daughter. But doubts crept in too. Had he been skilled enough in that world? Then, Lily's hand squeezed his tightly. We can do this, Dad. I believe in you. At that moment, nothing felt impossible. Whatever their project emerged as, it would be driven by love, by a desire to make the world better. Yet as they prepared to step into this new dimension, Mike's thoughts were spiraling with the unknown. What if Sarah's expectations were too high? What if they failed? What if they didn't connect at all? As uncertainty loomed, he whispered, Sweetheart, what if we can't do it? Lily, ever optimistic, replied, Then we'll just try again. Determined, they shared a nod and steeled themselves for the challenge ahead. The question remained, could they truly navigate this new path together, and would it lead them both to the safety they so desperately needed? As they prepared to leave the meeting room, Mike could feel a shift not just in the air but in his very being. And just outside the door, the weight of what lay ahead felt both exhilarating and terrifying. Mike took a deep breath as they exited the conference room. The buzz of the office surrounded them, each sound a reminder of the lives being led just beyond those closed doors. He glanced at Lily, who was still bouncing on her toes, energy radiating from her like sunlight. It struck him how that small spark of joy could light up even the darkest of worries. "Dad?" she said, her voice breaking through his thoughts. "What will our project be about?" He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. The truth was, he hadn't the slightest idea. All he could think about was how to impress Sarah, how to make this opportunity count. "I guess we should just focus on kindness and how it can help businesses," he finally said, trying to sound confident. "Yeah. Like a kindness machine," Lily exclaimed, her eyes lighting up at the concept. "We can make a game or something. Everyone will want to play." "Sounds like a good start," Mike said, with a tentative nod. "But how do we turn that into a project? Something to show off?" Lily's excitement dimmed a bit as she considered this. "What if we ask people about kindness? Like little interviews? Then make a poster or a video from it." Her idea was brilliant in its simplicity. Mike felt a swell of pride. "That's perfect, Lily." His heart raced with determination. They'd create something tangible, something real, a tool to spread kindness. But he also couldn't shake an uneasy feeling that crept in, the worry that maybe they wouldn't be able to execute this plan as well as they hoped. What if their idea fell flat? "Let's get to it," Mike said, forcing a smile and shaking off the creeping doubts. They found a quiet corner of the office cafe. Lily set up her little notepad, while Mike grabbed his phone for recording. "Okay, first up," she chirped, pointing to her list of potential interview questions. "How do we make people feel more kindness?" "This is our community," Mike explained softly. "These people know best. We'll ask them what kindness means to them." The first interviewee approached them, a woman in a colorful sweater clutching a cup of coffee. "Hi there. What are you doing?" "We want to know how to spread kindness," Lily declared, her tone earnest. "Can we ask you some questions?" The woman smiled, her professional demeanor melting into warmth. "Of course, sweetie." With each response they garnered, Mike felt more alive, more connected. The little girl facilitated laughter and poignant moments from the people they spoke with, bringing forth stories that stirred emotions. The woman who shared about the neighbor who brought her meals when she was sick, the man who spoke of mentorship and hope, each interaction crafted a vivid tapestry of humanity. As they returned to the makeshift workspace, Mike felt a sense of pride swell in him. "Lily, we're really making something great here." Dad, look." Lily interrupted, her eyes wide. She had just spotted Sarah approaching them with a frown. "Is something wrong?" The tension in the air thickened as Sarah stood before them, her expression unreadable. "I'm afraid I have a quick concern." Mike's stomach dropped. Had they done something wrong? "Your project needs a more focused approach," Sarah continued. "We need to think about our audience. Or else." Then she paused, letting the silence hang heavy. Mike's heart hammered in his chest. "Or else what?" he asked, fighting the growing unease. She leaned closer, her voice low but firm. "If you can't deliver a message that resonates, then what's the point of your effort? Time is limited." Her words sliced through him, a loud alarm ringing in his head. What if Sarah was right? What if they had misunderstood everything? But just as despair began to settle in, Lily spoke up, her voice steady and powerful. "Then we'll change it. We won't give up. We'll make it even better." Her battle cry sparked something inside Mike. The strength of that tiny voice filled him with renewed determination. "That's right," he said, looking into Sarah's eyes. "We won't back down. We'll refine our message." Could they truly rebound and deliver something powerful enough to win her belief? As They prepared to brainstorm adjustments. An idea began forming in Mike's mind. Something flashes in his gut that their efforts could not only help them, but inspire others in the corporate world to embrace kindness too. But what if it wasn't enough? What if the stakes were greater than he realized? In the heart of uncertainty, his focus shifted to the flickering light of possibility ahead. Lily was still buzzing with energy as she flipped through her notes, her brow furrowed in concentration. Okay, Dad, if we're going to refocus, we should make a list of the best kindness stories we heard. We can use those for our project. Mike nodded, heart racing. Great idea. Let us brainstorm what we can use. They sat on a small table in the corner, surrounded by the smell of roasted coffee and the chatter of office workers taking their breaks. The sunlight streamed through the glass windows, illuminating the determination on Lily's face. For a moment, the world outside faded, and it felt just like the two of them were in their own little universe. Mike jotted down ideas as Lily spoke excitedly about the woman who fed her sick neighbor. That was so nice. People need to hear that. And the man who mentors kids, helping them build confidence, Mike added, pleased with how well they were working together. We can showcase how these acts of kindness impact lives. Yeah. And we can even show how it can change a whole company. Lily exclaimed, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. It's not just about nice feelings, Dad. Kindness makes us better. As he wrote, Mike felt a strange mix of pride and fear. He believed in Lily's vision, but he also felt they were standing at the edge of a precipice. What if they fell? What if their message wasn't strong enough? What if they wasted this precious opportunity? Can we include something about how kindness costs nothing? Lily suggested, her voice breaking through his spiral of anxiety. Like, all it takes is a smile or a helping hand. That's brilliant. He said. Everyone can do that. And it connects so well with our theme. He was impressed not just by her ideas, but by her spirit and her ability to turn every moment into an opportunity for growth. Just as they were gathering momentum, a realization struck Mike hard. Lily, what we're doing might inspire people to be kind, but we also need hard facts. Statistics. Something to back us up. Like a survey? She asked, tilting her head slightly. Gather info from more people? Yes. We could create a short survey about kindness, he said, excitement flooding back. We can ask how many times a week people perform acts of kindness. How it makes them feel. If they think kindness impacts their workplace. Lily's face lit up again. That's a great idea. We can send it out to everyone here. As they continued brainstorming, a sense of resolve filled the air. They still had time to refine their project, to dig deeper, to reshape it into something impactful. But in that moment, the ticking clock weighed heavily on Mike. Sarah's warning echoed in his mind like a pendulum swinging, and for the first time he could feel a crack in his optimism. After we gather the data, how will we present it? A presentation? A video? Lily asked, her hands animatedly gesturing. Definitely a video, Mike said, feeling a flood of creativity leading him forward. We can intersperse real stories with the statistics. A nice mix. Just then, Sarah walked past their table, glancing over. Mike seized the chance. Hey, Sarah. We're going to compile survey data to incorporate into our project. Her eyebrows raised just the slightest bit, a flicker of interest crossing her features. Survey. That could help lend credibility. Good thinking. The validation sent a rush of warmth through him, an unexpected spark of hope. Maybe they could do this after all. But then, as quickly as it came, doubt bubbled back up. Could they gather enough impactful stories? Would their efforts resonate as they hoped? Henry from HR is great at marketing, should we ask him for help? Mike suggested, thinking aloud. Lily nodded vigorously. Yes. Let us get everyone involved. Kindness is a team effort. With each passing moment, they built a plan both robust and promising. Yet, beneath the excitement was a current of fear that refused to leave. Time was their adversary, and every tick felt like an impending judging bell. As night approached, Mike realized they had to act fast, but an idea popped into his head: what if they made compassion their cornerstone, something everyone could latch on to? What if, he started cautiously, we challenge others to commit small acts of kindness for a week and share their experiences? Lily's eyes widened, and a broad, genuine smile painted her face. What if they share it on social media? With a hashtag. Exactly. He said, fists clenched in victory. We can create a ripple effect. That's what we need to show Sarah. The pieces clicked into place, but suddenly Mike felt a rush of urgency. Academics, proofs, and even a simple hashtag 1T carry the weight of true change if they falter when it mattered. Would they truly manage to inspire the world around them? All he could feel was that heart-pounding hope, dancing alongside his anxiety. But deep down, he knew, this was only the beginning. They had more work to do, and the real challenge had only just started. The next morning dawned bright and promising. Mike stared at the screen of his laptop, heart pounding as he crafted the online survey. Each question felt like a piece of a larger puzzle, a piece that could lead them to something extraordinary. He needed this to work. There was no going back now. All done. Mike called, his voice echoing through the small kitchen. Lily fluttered in, her hair still messy from sleep, a curious expression on her face. Can I see? She asked, excitement spilling from her as she bounced on her toes. Sure, he said, turning the screen toward her. What do you think? Lily scanned the survey, her eyes wide with anticipation. These questions are awesome, Dad. Do you really think people will answer them? Mike took a deep breath. I hope so. But it's up to us to make it appealing. We need to explain why participating matters. Can we add something about how small actions can lead to big changes? She prompted, her mind racing with ideas. He nodded, thoroughly impressed. Absolutely. That could encourage more people to chip in. With their minds on fire, they dove back into planning. They crafted a catchy introduction to the survey, brainstorming ways to express the true impact of kindness. They infused it with personal anecdotes and vibrant visuals to catch people's attention. Once they posted the survey link in their company's internal chat group, Mike felt the anxiousness creep back in. It was out there now. Would it resonate? Would people participate? Let's turn this into a little contest. Lily suggested, her eyes gleaming with determination. We could reward the most inspiring stories. Great thinking. Mike said, suddenly feeling lighter. It could really motivate people to share. Their ideas continued to flow, jangling with a mix of excitement and fear. As they wrapped up the brainstorming session, Mike glanced at the clock. They were running out of time before submission day. The knowledge gnawed at him, a mix of urgency and doubt. Let's head over to HR and talk to Henry now, Mike suggested, trying to shake off the unease. We need his marketing expertise to spread our message. Lily nodded enthusiastically, and together they made their way to the HR office. Each step felt heavier as Mike grappled with the fear of judgment. The office buzzed with activity, the hum of voices and laughter accompanied their cautious approach. When they reached Henry's desk, he looked up with a friendly smile. Hey, Mike. Hey, Lily. What brings you two here? We've been working on a kindness project, Mike began, nerves tightening his voice. And we'd love your help to promote it. Henry's interest peaked. Kindness, huh? Sounds great. What's your plan? As Mike spoke, he found himself easing into the conversation. With every word, he saw Henry's expression ignite with enthusiasm, his posture leaning forward as if drawn in completely. That's what we need, especially now, Henry said. Our team could use some positivity. I can help get the word out through our company channels. Relief washed over Mike. Really? That would be amazing. Of course. I'm all in, Henry replied, a grin spreading across his face. Let's turn this into something big. Just as they were about to discuss further, Lily raised a hand, her eyes sparkling. Can we get everyone involved in creating a kindness wall? Like, a place where people can post their stories? Henry's eyebrows shot up in surprise. Brilliant idea. A visual reminder of our mission. I love it. As they finalized ideas, excitement surged through Mike, reminding him of the potential they had ignited. But in the back of his mind, a worry flickered. What if this didn't gain the momentum they hoped for? They left the HR office, phones buzzing with messages, encouragement flowered along with renewed energy. But Mike couldn't shake the feeling. They were moving fast. Too fast. As they returned to their table, he found Lily bustling around. She had already designed the social media graphics in her sketchbook. Dad, look! We can make these cute posters for the kindness wall. Her enthusiasm was contagious. Yet a shadow of apprehension loomed over Mike's heart. Would it be enough? As they worked, Mike caught glimpses of his daughter's determination, and slowly, hope began to unfurl within him. Maybe they were building something more than just a project. But then the nagging doubt returned. What if their efforts fell flat? What if nobody participated? Mike's heart raced as he pressed on, challenging himself. If they could ignite a spark of change, maybe that spark could turn into a flame. Could their message reach those who needed it most? He picked up a pen and started jotting ideas on a new page. Lily, what if we put up a countdown to the kindness week? It could build excitement. Great idea. And maybe we can feature a kindness story each day leading up to it. She replied, a determined smile breaking across her face. Just then, Mike's phone pinged with a notification. It was a response to their survey. Heart racing, he opened it. And what he saw sent chills down his spine. Wow! This was only the beginning. What awaited them was so much larger than they had imagined. But were they truly ready for what was about to unfold? Mike felt his hand tremble as he read through the response. It was a simple text from a colleague, someone he had only spoken to a few times. But the gravity of the words cut through him like a knife. I loved your idea. Kindness really matters now. I've lost faith in humanity, but I'd like to see where this goes. Lily leaned over the table, unable to see the screen but sensing her father's sudden stillness. What does it say? With a gulp, Mike turned the screen. It's a response. They're on board. They want to be involved. Lily's eyes lit up. That's awesome. Just one person. Imagine if more people feel the same way. A wave of warmth washed over Mike, mixed with a flicker of doubt that they could really mobilize a movement. Yeah. But we need to keep it going. We can't let one person's response be a fluke. Let us get more people excited. Lily suggested, already buzzing with ideas. How about we start a thread where everyone can share their own inspiring stories? Great thinking. Mike replied, a newfound determination sparking within him. They quickly created a space on their company chat where colleagues could share their stories of kindness and positivity. As the messages began to pour in, Mike watched in awe. Some were light-hearted, like a teammate helping a neighbor with groceries. Others were deeper, touching on moments of loss and grief, where kindness became a lifeline. Every story resonated. It was as if the walls around the office were shifting, the air thickening with hope. Look, Dad. Lily pointed to the growing thread. People are really responding. See? It's working. Mike could hardly believe it. Each comment felt like a soft glow lighting their path. It was a reminder that kindness existed, even in the busiest of workplaces. But then, amid the excitement, a message brought him back to an unsettling reality. It was an anonymous post, stark and candid. I wish I could believe in kindness. I've been bullied for too long, and it feels like there's no way out. Mike's heart sank at the vulnerability laid bare in front of them. He looked at Lily, meeting her gaze as uncertainty flickered in her eyes. What do we do about this? Maybe we could reach out. Have a conversation. She suggested softly. But can we really help? Mike questioned, a mix of fear and determination curling in his gut. Of course we can. That's what the Kindness Project is about, right? It's reaching out, showing we care, Lily replied, her voice steady. What if we make a private space where people can connect with each other? Mike took a deep breath, absorbing her words. The project was about growth, but it was also about acknowledging pain. It required them to step beyond their initial ideas, to be real and raw with others. Could they handle the complexity? We could set up a kindness committee, he proposed, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on him. Get people to stand by each other. To support them. Yes. And if someone is struggling, we can share resources, like counseling services, too. Lily's passion was infectious, and Mike felt his resolve strengthen. Pushing through their apprehensions, they began drafting a plan for the Kindness Committee, inviting anyone wanting to support their coworkers in need. And as they did, Mike couldn't shake the thought that this was just the start. Yet, in the back of his mind, doubt lingered. Could they really help someone so deeply hurt? Was he prepared for the realities that lay ahead? Let us get back to work on this, Mike said, sensing the urgency. And we'll keep the positivity flowing. As they delved deeper into creating their initiative, something remarkable began to happen. Stories and ideas continued to burst forth, revealing a community awakening. But together, they were still teetering at the edge of something vast, with a growing sense of urgency pushing them forward. What if they could not just shine a light but become the light for someone lost in darkness? Time would tell, and as the countdown to Kindness Week ticked closer, Mike felt the weight of the challenge ahead. Would they be able to carry this momentum into something life-changing? Hope and dread intertwined as he readied himself for what lay just beyond the horizon. The idea of the Kindness Committee lingered in Mike's mind, mixing with the sounds of the office around him. The energy was palpable, electric even, but the gravity of that anonymous message pulled at him. Could they really make a difference? Would people trust them enough to share their struggles? Dad, Lily's voice broke through his thoughts, pulling him back. We need a name. Something powerful. Write a name. Mike mulled it over, tapping his pen against the table. What do you think about Kindness Connect? Lily nodded excitedly. I love it. It sounds like a place where people can find each other and feel safe. With their new name solidified, they plunged into the planning. The walls of the office seemed to fade away as they set up meetings and crafted messages to invite everyone in. Mike's heart raced with anticipation. The next morning, the office had a different atmosphere. Voices buzzed and laughter floated through the air as they prepared to announce the Kindness Committee. Mike felt pride swell in his chest as he watched his colleagues gathering around, eager to contribute. Okay, everyone. He called, his voice steady but filled with nervous energy. Lily and I want to introduce you to Kindness Connect. It's a place where we can support each other, share our stories, and build a stronger community. He glanced over to Lily. Her eyes glittered with passion, mirroring his own. We know that not everyone feels connected, she continued. But we want to change that. If you've struggled like the person who posted yesterday, you're not alone anymore. A murmur of agreement went through the crowd, mingling with hopeful smiles. But one voice broke through, sharp and skeptical. What makes this different from just talking about it? How do we know it'll help? Mike felt a cold wave hit him, but he pressed on. It's not just talk. We'll create safe spaces for one-on-one conversations, share resources, and support those who need it. He could see the uncertainty still lingering, yet he refused to back down. If we come together, we can really make a change. Soon, a few hands rose to volunteer, and the floodgates opened. They brainstormed ideas from community events to virtual check-ins. Each suggestion fueled their collective enthusiasm, but in the midst of the excitement, Mike noticed one colleague standing back. An older man, usually cheerful, now wore a frown. "Are you okay?" Mike asked cautiously as he approached. The man sighed, his shoulders slumping. I don't know if this will work. I've seen committees come and go without making a difference." Mike nodded, feeling that familiar dread creeping back. "I get it. But change takes time, and we need everyone to believe. Even if it starts with one person." The man's gaze softened slightly, and Mike sensed a flicker of hope there. Just then, a woman chimed in, "I'd like to help someone who has been bullied. It affected me deeply, so I know how important that outreach is." "Exactly." Lily interjected, her eyes alive with exuberance. "If we each take one step forward, we can support others who feel lost, like you felt." Her infectious spirit was a balm, a reminder that they were fireflies, lighting each other's paths. Just then, a notification pinged on Mike's phone. He glanced down, and his heart sank again. It was another anonymous post, this time even more vulnerable. "I've never been shown kindness. I don't think I deserve it, but I would love to feel it if only someone would reach out." The hope that had just started building inside him splintered. Should he respond? How could he, when he felt so inadequate and fearful? "Dad," Lily whispered, breaking his train of thought. "What if this is our chance to start? What if we reach out to them directly?" His heart raced. What if? The weight of that responsibility pressed down heavily as he looked into her determined eyes. "Let us do it," he said, every ounce of fear clawing at him. But with that decision came a surge of purpose. The time had come to step into the light, not just for themselves, but for someone who might be waiting. As they gathered there, courage and drafted a private message, Mike felt the intensity building in the air. But were they ready for the potential heartbreak that lay ahead? What if they could become the connection that turned someone back to hope? The moment of truth lingered just beyond their fingertips, and Mike braced himself for whatever journey awaited them next. As Mike typed the message, his hands trembled slightly. The screen glowed back at him, illuminating his uncertainty as he considered the words that could either uplift or disappoint. Lily leaned closer, her breath quickening as she read over his shoulder. "Just tell them they're not alone," she urged, her voice steady. "We should promise to be here for them." He paused, staring at the blinking cursor. It felt surreal, reaching out like this. What if this didn't work? What if they opened a floodgate of pain instead of healing? Mike cleared his throat and began to type. "Hi, we're from Kindness Connect, and we want you to know that you matter. We're here for you." His voice trailed off as the words felt so insufficient against the weight of the message they were responding to. "Add that we can talk," Lily suggested, her eyes bright with hope. "Say you'll listen." With a few more keystrokes, they finished the message. Mike hit send and felt a mix of exhilaration and trepidation. It's done. The room around them buzzed with eager conversation as others continued to brainstorm. Yet, despite the supportive atmosphere, Mike felt an eerie silence settle in his mind. They had taken a step, yes, but was it a step into hope or uncertainty? Moments turned into minutes, and after what felt like an eternity, a response appeared on the screen. The hesitation that had once hung in the air transformed to tension as they both leaned closer. "I don't know if I can believe that, maybe it's just another empty promise." The raw honesty hit Mike like a punch. This wasn't just some mere comment but a glimpse into a soul weighed down by loneliness. "What do we say?" Mike asked, his voice thick with empathy. "Let us remind them that it's okay to not feel okay," Lily replied, her brow creasing in thought. "We understand that. And that we're willing to just listen." With renewed determination, they crafted a heartfelt reply. After sending it off, a flurry of questions swirled in Mike's mind. What if this person had been hurt too many times to trust? What if their story was filled with darkness that he and Lily couldn't pull them out of? Dad, do you think they'll actually reply? Lily's voice brought him back from his spiral of worry. I hope so, he replied, forcing a smile. But even if they don't, we're trying. That matters. As the office continued to buzz with excitement, Mike sought out the older man who had voiced his skepticism earlier. Hey, how do you feel about everything now? He asked, genuinely curious. The man looked surprised. You really think this could work, don't you? I do, Mike said, feeling the words take shape. It's about creating connections. Even if they start small, they can grow. The man nodded slowly, his face softening. All right, I'm willing to give this a chance. You got the right spirit. Just then, another ping sounded from Mike's phone. His heartbeat quickened as he looked down. It was another reply from the anonymous poster. I'm scared, but I want to talk. Can you help me? Mike's heart soared but quickly dropped. A mix of exhilaration and dread coursed through him. Would they truly understand how to help? Wow, Lily breathed, her eyes wide. This is perfect. We can set up a video chat. We just have to be there for them. But deep inside, a knot tightened in Mike's stomach. What if they couldn't be? He exchanged a glance with Lily, her youthful determination shining brightly amid his reservations. Okay, he said slowly, but we have to approach this carefully. We don't want to make promises we can't keep. Let us not think about what could go wrong, Lily urged, squeezing her hands together. Think of what could go right. With reluctant hope blooming, Mike felt the pressure of fear ebb just a bit. They had taken the first few tentative steps. Was it possible they were on the brink of something healing? As they prepared to make arrangements to connect with this person, Mike realized the real journey was just beginning. What lay ahead could be transformative, not just for the anonymous caller, but for him and Lily too. Do you think we're really ready for this? He asked, whispering the question aloud. Ready or not, Lily grinned. Let us light up their path. And with that, they dove deeper into the unknown, ready to face whatever came next. But would their light be enough to guide someone out of the darkness? Mike and Lily stared at the screen, each heartbeat thudding like a drum in a quiet room. The anticipation was almost unbearable. The video chat was set for later that evening, every tick of the clock felt like an eternity. Mike could see the determination in Lily's eyes, a mix of fire and anxiety. She believed they could make a difference, and that ignited a spark of courage in him too. Are you nervous? Mike asked, trying to break the mounting silence. Yeah, Lily admitted, biting her lip. What if they don't like what we have to say? What if we say the wrong thing? Or what if we say exactly the right thing? Mike countered. He pulled her into a side hug, squeezing her shoulder. We can only be honest and genuine. We don't have to have all the answers. Hours dragged like days, but finally, the time approached. The sun dipped beyond the horizon, painting their office in warm hues of orange and purple. Together, they set up the laptop, adjusting the webcam and testing the microphone. Mike glanced at Lily. You ready? With a deep breath, she nodded. Let us do this. The screen flickered, and soon, a face appeared, a young woman with tired eyes and a posture that suggested she was carrying a heavy burden. Hi, her voice was barely above a whisper. Is this Kindness Connect? Hi. Yes, it is. I'm Mike, and this is my daughter, Lily, Mike said, struggling to sound confident. We're glad you reached out. The woman looked down, her fingers tapping nervously on the table. I'm not sure why I'm here. Just take your time, Lily encouraged softly, her voice filled with warmth. You're not alone. As the conversation unfolded, the woman unveiled fragments of her life, an overwhelming sense of loneliness, despair, and the feeling that no one could truly understand her struggles. Mike listened intently, every word cutting through him, resonating with echoes of empathy. He glanced at Lily and saw her brow furrowed in concern, her heart aching for the stranger's pain. "What would help you?" Mike eventually asked, his own uncertainties thrumming. "What would make it feel a little more manageable?" The woman hesitated before responding, "I don't know, I wish I could believe that someone out there cares enough to listen." Lily leaned closer, as if trying to bridge that invisible distance. "We care. You matter to us. You don't have to go through this alone." The woman's eyes glistened, and for a moment, Mike could see a flicker of hope. It was small but present. "Really?" "Yes. We are here to listen. Just tell us what you need," Mike said, feeling the importance of each word. With a trembling voice, the woman began to share her story. It flowed out like a river that had been dammed too long. Each word poured forth full of emotion, each pause filled with unspoken pain. As she spoke, Mike felt a surge of responsibility and compassion. This was more than just a conversation, they were on the brink of creating a connection with the potential to heal. Lily listened attentively, her gaze holding the woman's as if to anchor her in a safe space. It was beautiful to see her courage and empathy, and for a moment, Mike felt a warmth spread through him. This was the reason they had started all of this, the power of connection. But as the call went on, Mike began to feel that knot tightening again. What if they were too late to help? What if they couldn't reach her deep enough to make a real difference? When the conversation finally wound down, the woman looked relieved yet still uncertain, her eyes clouded with doubt. "I'm scared, my past is full of mistakes, and I don't know if I can change." Mike felt that familiar ache in his chest. Change is hard. But you don't have to tackle it all at once. We'll be here as you take those steps. That's what matters. As they ended the call, the weight of the moment pressed down on Mike. It was a step forward, but did they truly have the strength to support her? Did we do enough? Mike turned to Lily, searching her face for reassurance. Lily met his gaze, her face glowing with determination. "We did everything we could. She knows we're here. That counts for something." Just then, Mike's phone pinged again, startling them both. Another reply. He wondered aloud, hopeful yet anxious. Lily leaned in closer, breaths held as he opened the message. And what he read caused a shiver to run down his spine. "I trust you. Can I tell you everything?" They were sinking into a deeper abyss of uncharted territory. They had sparked something significant, but would they have what it took to handle it? "Let us light up their path," Mike whispered, the uncertainty still lingering like smoke. As the anticipation hung thick in the air, Mike looked across the room at Lily, whose enthusiasm was infectious. The warmth of their shared determination pulsed through him, fueling his resolve. They had already taken bold steps that felt bigger than either of them had imagined. "Let us respond," Mike said, his voice steady despite the quickening beat of his heart. He typed a reply, like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. "Absolutely. We want you to feel safe to share whatever you're comfortable with." When the message was sent, a mix of nervousness and hope washed over him. It was one thing to nurture the idea of kindness, it was another to confront raw emotion and vulnerability head-on. Moments passed, each second stretching into forever. Then, dings filled the air, the familiar sound of another message. They both scrambled to read it, their eyes wide with anticipation. "I've been through a lot," the message read. "I just don't know if I can trust anyone." Beneath her uncertainty, Mike felt the weight of her pain. That's completely understandable. It's hard to trust when hope feels lost. "We'll be here for you, no matter what," he replied, determined to create a safe space for her. "What if we set up a regular meeting?" Lily suggested excitedly. "It could be like a check-in. A time for you to talk, get support, even just share how you're feeling." Mike's heart soared at Lily's wisdom, she was wise beyond her years. "We can make it a safe space where you voice anything at all, whether it's fear, frustration, or even victory," he added, pouring his heart into the message. A silence followed, but in those precious moments, he felt a shift. This wasn't just about a project, it was tangible growth and connection, moving away from isolation into a shared journey. Then, the reply arrived. "IT like that. It sounds different from anything else I've tried. I feel lighter." Tears stung Mike's eyes. He hadn't realized how much they needed to hear those words. "Thank you for trusting us. Together, we'll face it all," he typed back, a sense of purpose flooding his being. Lily's face shone with joy. "Look, Dad. This is what it's all about, building connections that can change lives." As they continued their conversation, Mike sensed the atmosphere in their office shifting. Colleagues gathered around, curious about what was unfolding. It was as if kindness had a ripple effect, echoing out beyond their small circle. "Keep it going," shouted a nearby coworker, grinning. "I could use some positivity." The notion of this small kindness project blossoming into something larger was invigorating. Ideas flowed freely, igniting a movement that united people in ways Mike had never expected. "Let's set a time this week for our first supportive session," he suggested to Lily, who grinned and agreed enthusiastically. They sent invitations throughout the office, creating a small wave of eagerness. "Imagine if we could get even more people involved," Mike mused. "Kindness could ripple out far beyond us." The calls stacked up, and soon they had responses pouring in, not just from their workplace, but across their community. "We want to join," said colleagues, "to share our stories and support those in need." Each confirmation brought with it a sense of urgency transformed into excitement, a realization that they were becoming part of something bigger. As the Kindness Week approached, Mike felt the weight of responsibility. What if they fell short? But deep down, he recognized that their journey was already more powerful than he ever thought possible. "Remember how we started this all," Lily reminded him, her voice steady. "It's about kindness and support, one person at a time. That's enough." "Right. It's about connection," Mike nodded, taking strength from her unwavering belief. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow in the office, they watched as individuals began to connect and share their own stories. With each shared experience, each act of kindness, the world felt just a little bit brighter. They were lighting the way for anyone who needed it. Finally, on a day filled with nervous excitement, Kindness Connect launched. Messages of love and support flooded through. A team of employees rallied to help, crafting an inspiring banner, and everyone began sharing their stories with open hearts. And when Mike looked over at Lily, whose radiant smile lit up her face, he felt a wave of gratitude. They had come so far, a father and daughter igniting change together. With love and kindness, they had channeled their struggles into hope, and they stood together at the helm of movement that would echo far beyond the office walls. "It's just the start," Mike said, his heart swelling with pride and purpose. "Together, let's change the world, one act of kindness at a time." As they exchanged glances, their hands intertwined, they knew this journey was only beginning. They would face whatever came next with fierce love and determination, armed with the belief that kindness could truly change the world around them. Remember, this is your moment to shine. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that could change lives. Leave a like now to keep us alive and thriving in the algorithm. We want to hear from you. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support matters, and only true fans like you know the importance of standing together.